Load the data. I loved how we ended this. Moeka pulled the trigger. Blood spurts from Mayuri's forehead. Actually, this would have been a lot worse to actually see this. It splashes across my face, wet and warm. Her delicate, frail body falls towards me. I catch her. Her body is limp, like a puppet with no strings. Her head and arms dangle lifelessly. The smell of gunpowder fills my nose. And then the smell of blood. Daru clutches his head and falls to his knees, screaming at the top of his lungs. The sound jerks me back to my senses. Why is there no background music for this? There should be background music. In my arms, Mayuri takes one short, shallow breath. And then... That's so sad.
Mayuri.
She's dead. Mayuri's dead. Her face is covered in blood. Her blood stains my hands. It's warm.
もう一度言う。3人とも一緒に来て。これ以上の警告はしない。抵抗するならあなたたちも殺す。
I hear a voice, but I can't comprehend what it is saying. What is this? What's going on here? Is this a joke? We may have created a monster here. This is a dream, right? Right? I feel nothing. My mind is blank. I shake Mayuri's shoulder. Mayuri? Wake up, Mayuri. You'll catch cold if you sleep here. If you're tired, you can stay overnight. Or I can take you home if you prefer. We'll ride the train back to Ikebukuro together, like we used to before Daru joined, when it was just the two of us. Memories of her smile whirl through my head, 1,000 different smiles from 1,000 different occasions. If I look away, she'll disappear. She always disappears.
もう大丈夫だね。マユシーが人質じゃなくても。
No, Mayuri. I still need you. Laugh for me. Like you always do. Greet me with your silly toot-doo-doo. Tell me it's a lie. Tell me you're all right. Mayuri? Red flames consume my mind, an inferno of rage and hate and rage and hate, and the burning desire to kill everything I see. I gently lay the motionless Mayuri on the floor. I stand up, and then I fling myself at Moeka. But before I can take a step, someone grabs my hand from behind. Moeka's gun is aimed at my head. Her finger is already on the trigger.
俺も殺すのかよ。
抵抗するなら。
岡部、お願い。今は従って。このままじゃあんたも殺される。
I tear my hand from Kirisu's grip. My vision has a tunnel with Moeka on the other side. I forgot to do something quickly. Which is, I need to go to the dashboard, and we're not playing Eternal Darkness. We're playing Steins Gate. Update, please. Thank you. Back to the game. She won't get away with this. She killed Mayuri in cold blood. I'll do the same to her. Blood for the blood god! Moeka pulls the trigger. The sound of the shot smites upon my smites upon my eardrums. I feel a sharp pain in the side of my head. I nearly lose my balance again. But I'm still alive. Is he though? I don't know, this might be ending number 1. What happened? I realized that Moika's gun is lying at her feet. Beside it is a small stone. Someone must have thrown it and knocked her gun aside. Yeah! Part-time warrior! Gwa! Suddenly, Suzuha is there in the doorway, knocking one man down in the blink of an eye. Before anyone can react, she darts into another man's range and delivers a piercing elbow strike to his solar plexus. The man drops to his knees, gasping for air. The remaining men turn their guns on her, but she throws the incapacitated man towards them to block their aim. She then slides into the feet of the man at the rear, tipping him forward in a single motion, a single smooth, flowing motion, and drives her knee into the man's face as he falls. Who the hell? The dark-skinned man aims his rifle. But before he can fire, Suzuha snatches a stuns attacker's gun and shoots him. Damn! Blood spurts from the man's hand. Without pausing, Suzuha leaps into the air and delivers a soaring roundhouse kick to his jaw.
そこまでよ。
The next thing I know, the 5 men are down and Moika's gun is aimed at Suzuha's face. But Suzuha doesn't back down. Her gun is trained on Moika's neck. It's a standoff. Neither moves. Silence returns to the room.
何者？
42
Suzuha's reply makes no sense. She glances at me.
テレビ
What is she saying?
点灯済み
Turned on.
何を？
Ah! She turned on the TV. Suddenly, Kirisu springs up and makes a break for the development room.
動くな！
それはこっちのセリフ
Yeah, you can't move. I suddenly realized the meaning of Suzuha's words. The 42-inch TV downstairs. It's on. She wants me to use the time leap machine. I look at Mayuri's body. She's lying there quietly. Her eyes are closed. They'll never open again. One of the men Suzuha knocked out starts to moan. If they wake up, it's all over. Suzuha looks at me again. Her eyes implore me to make my move. If I use the machine, I can avert Mayuri's death. But at the same time, it could fry my brain. Fry my brain. So what? What is there to fear? Mayuri is dead, shot in cold blood. This isn't right. I won't accept it. Then change it. Change the past. You have the power. Use it! I stagger into the development room. Kirisu is about to put on the headgear. I pull it away from her.
岡部
俺が飛ぶ。
私が
I grab Kirisu's wrist as she tries to take it back. I stare into her eyes, eyes wet with tears.
俺がマユリを助ける。
もし失敗したら
I ignore her and put on the headgear. Moika's last shot grazed the sides of my head. My ears are still ringing and there's blood on my neck. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I might fail. I might even die. But I have to try. It's my only chance to save Mayuri. Kirisu bites her lip and activates the X-68,000.
岡部倫太郎一人行った殺せ使わせるな
Damn kids. The crew cut man staggers into the development room. Acting purely on instinct, I grab future gadget number 4, Mode Snake, from the shelf and flick the switch. White smoke instantly fills the room, rendering it impossible to see.
クリス。
タイムリープしてもいいの
やれクリス。マシンを動かせ。あっ
Pain flares in my right arm. Was I shot? It doesn't matter. I see blue-white light shining through the smoke. The discharge is starting. The light rapidly grows brighter. The floor begins to shake. The singularity is open. I crouch down, holding the headset steady with one hand. Oh, come on, go faster. Wait for me, Mayuri. I won't die here. I'll cross through time to save you. Leap my memories. Leap to the past!
止めよ
The world explodes into light. Chapter 6. Metaphysics Necrosis.
マユリ。 Mayuri?
No matter how many times I call her name, Mayuri doesn't answer. Mayuri is standing in front of her grave, gazing at the sky. The grave belongs to her grandmother, who died when Mayuri was 11 years old. Her parents were always busy with work, so her grandmother was her only companion. I was close to Mayuri's family, so her death was sad for me too. At the wake, I expected Mayuri to break down and cry. She didn't. Instead, she spent the whole time gazing vacantly at her grandmother's memorial portrait. 6 months went by. I had advanced to middle school, so Mayuri and I no longer communicated together. But whenever I passed the cemetery on the way home, Mayuri would always be standing there. Every day, rain or shine, she would stand for hours before the grave, staring wordlessly at the sky as if she could see her grandmother in heaven. In her hands, an old pocket watch. The watch had belonged to her grandmother. Mayuri always held it when visiting the grave.
Mayuri?
No matter how many times I called her name, Mayuri did not answer. Back then, Mayuri wouldn't talk to anyone. Not to me, not even to her parents. Whenever I saw her standing there, staring at the sky, I felt unease grip my heart. Her gaze was so earnest, her intentions so pure that I feared some power might grant her wish and carry her off to heaven to join her beloved grandmother. And so, to ensure that nothing like that happened, I made sure to stop by the cemetery every day. I would stand next to the stargazing Mayuri and call her name.
Mayuri?
But no matter how many times I'd call her, Mayuri wouldn't reply. The only sound in the lonely cemetery was the echo of my voice, calling her name. It was raining that day, too. Mayuri had a light blue umbrella. In contrast to the umbrella's color, the sky was glazed gray, covered in clouds. After a while, the rain stopped. Rays of light shone through gaps in the clouds. Stunningly beautiful sight. Rembrandt rays, they are called, or sometimes the angel's ladder. Suddenly, a strong wind swept through the cemetery. It caught Mayuri's umbrella and carried it into the sky. Mayuri seemed not to notice. She kept staring at the sky. And then, slowly, so very slowly, she stretched her hand out to the sky, as if to grasp the rays of light, as if her grandmother were reaching down to pull her up. And then she lifted herself on her toes. To me, it looked as if she was floating up towards heaven. Impulsively, I grabbed Mayuri's outstretched hand and pulled her to my embrace. In retrospect, my fears were just a childish fantasy, but at the time, I truly believed that Mayuri might vanish.
どこにも行かせないぞ。連れてなんて行かせない。
I realized how embarrassing the words coming from my own mouth were.
マユリは俺の人質だ。人体実験の生贄なんだ。
It was the first excuse that came to mind. Before her grandmother died, Mayuri and I were fans of a popular TV series about costumed heroes battling evil. I particularly admired the villain, a mad scientist. I'd even got pretty good at mimicking his lines. Now I was doing it to hide my embarrassment. I could feel my face glowing red, but I kept up the mad scientist act all the same. If nothing else, it was better than admitting my insecurities.
どこにも逃がさないからな。
As I said this, I realized that Mayuri was shaking. She whispered. It was the first time in 6 months that I had heard her speak. Her voice was choked with tears.
人質なんだね。じゃあ、しょうがないね。
She smiled happily. Tears fell from her eyes. And then Mayuri buried her face in my chest. Now back to the present. Yeah, that scene just basically proved how stupid they were to shoot Mayuri. How very stupid. Okay. Where am I? Who am I? I can't see. I can barely think. A terrible screech fills my head like feedback from a giant speaker. It penetrates my brain like 100 sharp needles stabbing me right behind the eyes. I thought brains weren't supposed to feel pain. And there's more. I feel a shiver of pleasure beneath the pain and a terrible itching like my body is on fire. I want to crack open my skull and tear out my brain. I want to scrape out my soft gray matter with my fingers and eat it. The assault on my brain is driving me crazy. Who am I? Suddenly, the shattered pieces of the world reform. I slowly come back to my senses. I'm in the lab, standing in front of the phone wave. Name subject to change with my cell phone to my ear. No, not the phone wave. Name subject to change since the headgear's attached to it. It's the time leap machine. It's hard to breathe. Give me oxygen. I hear a low wheezing groan and realize it's coming from my own throat. I close my mouth, then take a deep breath. The insides of my throat feel like they're burning. I resist the urge to cough and continue filling my lungs with air. I notice that I'm drenched in sweat. The drops sliding down my forehead are annoying. I try to wipe them away with the back of my right hand. My hand obeys. Slowly. Something is off. It's like my body and my mind aren't totally in sync with each other. Almost as if this really isn't my body. As if my nerves aren't communicating properly with my extremities. I tried blinking slowly. This might just be my imagination. Could this be exhaustion? I haven't slept much lately. I try to move my hand again. There is no disconnect this time. This is my body. A familiar voice. I turn around slowly. Kirisu is there. She stares at me, perplexed. What is she talking about? I try answering, but my voice doesn't work too well. Even more bewildered, I clear my throat several times. For what? I search my memories. The moment I do, images appear in my mind like a string of exploding light bulbs. I remember now. I used the time leap machine. That's right. What am I standing around for? I grab Kirisu's shoulders and pull her close. Which shopping trip is she talking about? Daru is sitting at his computer staring at us wide-eyed.
Daru! 今日は何日だ? 今は何時なんだ? 13日の5時ちょっと過ぎだけど.
The 13th, a little past 5.
成功.
Did I manage to
したのか?
time leap in the middle of all that chaos? Did my memories really jump through time? Does that mean I've leaped into my past self? Is there a chance that it was all a dream? Thinking back, forward, it doesn't seem real. Commandos breaking into the lab, it's like something out of a Hollywood movie. But the sight of Mayuri, broken and bloody, is burned into my eyes. I remember the smell of blood, the sound of the gunshot, the weight of the headgear on my head, the pain of the bullet tearing through my arm. Kirisu screaming, Suzuha fighting to defend us. I remember it all vividly. I touched my arm. No bullet holes, no pain even. Was it all a dream? I don't know. I've never time leaped before. I can only hope that it was a dream. A future like that is too much to bear. I recall Mayuri's last moments and my eyes fill with tears. I force the tide of emotion back.
Mayuri wa?
I look around the lab. Kirisu and Daru are here, but I can't find Mayuri.
Mayuri wa doko ni?
どこってルカシのところに行くってさっき言ってたじゃんか。オカリン聞いてなかったん?
That's right. Mayuri went to beg Lukako to wear her costume. She won't return until it's time for the party. What do I do? What do I believe? Was it a dream? Or was it real? If it was a dream, then I don't have to worry about anything. If it was real, then I need to act now. I take a deep breath.
あれは夢だった。
No, dumbass!
あんなの現実に起きるはずがない。
It was a nightmare brought on by anxiety, that's all. There's no other logical explanation. I desperately persuade myself that that is so. Little do I know that I will soon regret my foolishness. Kirisu goes shopping alone. I stay in the lab with Daru, waiting for Mayuri to return. She's back! Hey! An innocent smile. Mayuri is alive. Nothing will happen to her. I was worried for nothing. When Suzuha arrives, we'll begin the meeting.
オカリフェリスちゃんやルカちゃんにもね声をかけたんだけど今日は無理って言われちゃった
I've heard these words before. Deja vu. A trick of the mind.
そうか。何か用事でもあったのか。
フェリスちゃんは今日はライネットの大会。
しまった。応援行きそびれた。なんという不覚。
あとねルカちゃんはなんだか恥ずかしそうにしてたよ。ここに来たらまたマヨリのコスを着させられるって思ったんじゃない？
It's just like my dream. I've never remembered a dream this vividly before. I remember every word that was spoken.
コスプレの件か。もしかしてまだ説得できていないのか。
恥ずかしいんだって。可愛いは正義なのに。可愛いは正義ってそんな言葉が流行ってるんだ。クリスちゃんもね可愛いよね。えねえねえ今度のコビマに出てみない？新作は無理だけどね去年作ったブラチューのセイラ覚醒後バージョンコスがあるんだ。私がコスプレか。ちょっと興味ある。あ、でも私も人前に出るのはお断りだから。着るだけでいいよ。でもねそのうちみんなに見てもらいたくなるよ。コスプレにはそうさせる魔物さんが住んでるんだ。そういえばクリスちゃんっていつも可愛い制服着てるよね。でもこんな制服都内にあったっけ？うん、これ2週間だけあやめ院に逆留学みたいなことしてたんだけどそこの制服を改造してきてるの。ああ、あやめ院なんだ。あそこの制服もともと可愛いもんね。明日 そしたら試着してくれる？いいわ。
撮影会は何時からですか？
相変わらず橋田は変態道を邁進中だな。
だってブラチューのセーラっしょ。あれって確かパンモロだぞ。
パンモロ？
パンツがもろに見えているの略。
嘘。
大丈夫だよ。クリスちゃんは知らないかもだけどね、去年ぐらいにこんな言葉が流行ったんだよ。パンツじゃないから恥ずかしくないもんって。
日本終わってた。
絶対来てね。
Even though this is the second time seeing this scene, it's still funny.
やめといた方がいいんじゃないかな。
Suzuha speaks, her tone sharp. She's scowling at Kurisu again. Suddenly the atmosphere in the room changes. I remember this too. I feel like I'm losing my mind here.
ナキセクリスを信じると痛い目に遭うよ。
それどういう意味？この前から思ってたんだけど、私あなたに何かした？
直接は何も。でも私君のしたこと全部知ってんだよね。
何よ私がしたことって。後ろめたいことは何もしてない。
だろうね。でも私知ってんだから。
へえ、すごい。私の心の中を覗いたんだ。画期的な発明だから？
装置なんてないよ。強いて言うなら予言。
つまり言いがかりってことか。
事実だってば。おかり。
Mayuri clings to me with teary eyes.
二人を止めて。
Should I listen to Mayuri's plea, like I did in the dream? Knowing that I can't stop the fight, should I let Mayuri handle it instead? I don't know. I can't move a muscle.
もう
Mayuri pouts and then goes over to the two girls.
二人とも聞いて。マユシーはね、喧嘩は嫌いなのです。仲良くしようよ。
Daru comes over to chat with Suzuha, and gradually peace returns to the lab. Kurisu in the development room making a call, probably to her mother in America. I sit on the sofa and watch TV while sipping Dr. P. But I can't pay attention to what I see on the screen. It doesn't enter my head. Mayuri sits down next to me. She peels a banana and begins eating it.
ねえねえ、おかり、なんだかね、ここ何週間ですごく賑やかになったね。
Stop it. Why are you saying the same things in that terrible dream? It was a dream. It has to be a dream.
楽しいね。
Mayuri smiles happily, not noticing my lack of a reply.
あのね、ラボ面が8人に増えたでしょ。ちょっと狭くなってきたなってマユシーは思うんだ。まずね、椅子が足りないのです。買ってこなくちゃだよ。オカリンはお金ある？
I shake my head, wordlessly. For some reason, I'm afraid to look Mayuri in the face.
じゃあ、マユシーのバイト代もちょっとだ。あとはね、電子レンジ。新しいの買わないとジューシー唐揚げナンバーワンが温められないよ。
He's slowly going insane.
大丈夫？元気ないよ。体調良くないのかな。だったらね、休まなきゃ。
そんな恥ずかしいことを。
Before I can finish, the television interrupts me with an urgent news bulletin. The subtitles read, Terrorist bomb threat suspends Yamanote, Sobu, Kenshin Toku lines.
爆破テロ予告？
つうか全部秋葉原駅通ってるじゃん。マユシか。
本当だ。家に電話しなくちゃ。
嘘。頼む。
Yep, it's the same. Every last thing the same.
岡部倫太郎、一つ聞かせて。
It was a
タイム
dream.
リープマシンは完成してるんだよね。
It had to be a dream. But if If it was a dream, then why?
聞いてる？
タイムリープマシンは完成してるけど。
そっか、私用事思い出したからちょっと出かけてくる。
Suzuha leaves the lab without another word.
何なの彼女。
I have a feeling that the game gave us this particular ending because we didn't do things right, and the dream is going to continue, and this time everybody's going to get killed. Although, we don't know. But no matter how hard I try to convince myself of that, I can't shake the icy hand clutching my heart. I can't breathe. Even though it's hot and humid, my body shivers. I remember this feeling, too, from the dream. Did I choose wrong? Was I granted a second chance, only to let it go to waste? A soft feeling against my fingers. I look down to see Mayuri's hand holding mine. When I look up, I see worry written on her face. I reflexively look towards the door. If the dream wasn't a dream, then... any second now... It happened exactly as I remember. 5 men burst into the lab. Their movements are swift and sure, professional, and each of them is carrying a gun. They spread out just inside the door and aim their weapons at us. I recognize each of them. There's no denying it now. I did leap through time. It was the future I remembered. I was supposed to change this present, to stop this madness about to unfold. But I told myself it was a dream, and wasted my chance to save everyone. Hands in the air, nobody move. Silence. Time seems to grind to a halt. The men say nothing. Why didn't I do anything to change this? Wasn't that why I leapt through time? The sound of heels echo down the hallway. A woman is coming up the stairs. Moeka. The woman who will kill Mayuri. The dream was real. Those were memories of the future. This is happening because I did nothing to stop it.
萌香さん、タイムマシンを回収させてもらう。
If I kill her first, will Mayuri live? I consider the option, but soon give up. The real danger is the men behind her. 3 of them have assault rifles. They'll gun us down the instant I try anything. My only hope is for Suzuha to make her move before Mayuri is shot. Is there even chance?
牧瀬クリス、岡部倫太郎、橋田至、3名については我々と一緒に来てもらう。抵抗は許されない。とにかく。
どこへ？
I have no words.
せめて理由と行き先を教えてほしいんだけど。
拒否することは認めない。あなたたちに逃げ場はないわ。私たちの仲間はすでに秋葉原中に散らばっている。手荒な真似は3人とも。
なんで3人なの？
何を聞かれてもあなたたちはただついてくればいい。ねえ、萌香さんはラボメン仲間だよね。
In reply, Moeka pulls a gun from her belt and points it at us. It's happening
一緒
again.
に来てもらうのはあなたたちの口を封じるため。それは拒否しても変わらない。3人とも一緒に来て。これ以上拒否するなら嫌でも行きたくなるようにするから。
Moeka slowly raises her gun. She points the muzzle at...
椎名真由里は必要ない。
I try to shout stop, but my voice catches in my throat. Nothing comes out but a pitiful wheeze. I turn to Kirisu for help. Kirisu is staring at Mayuri. She looks as if she might start crying any second. I turn to Daru. He's shaking. His lips move as if to speak, but nothing comes out. Someone, anyone, please stop her. Stop Moeka.
セルンのために FP のためにセルンのために FP の。
Her lips close tightly, and a sharp, dry crack splits the air. Time slows to a crawl. Moeka pulled the trigger. Blood spurts from Mayuri's forehead. It splashes across my face, wet and warm. Her delicate, frail body falls towards me. I catch her. Her body is limp like a puppet with no strings. Her head and arms dangle lifelessly. The smell of gunpowder fills my nose, and then the smell of blood. Daru clutches his head and falls to his knees, screaming at the top of his lungs. In my arms, Mayuri takes one ragged breath, and then... I have the strangest feeling of deja vu. She's dead. Mayuri is dead. Again. Her face is covered in blood. Her blood stains my hands. It's
も
warm.
う一度言う。3人とも。これ以上の警告はしない。抵抗するなら、あなたたちも殺す。
I hear a voice. But I can't comprehend what it's saying. It's the same. I knew it would be. I let Mayuri die again, because I didn't believe my own memories of the future. I lay Mayuri down on the floor. I'm sorry, Mayuri. I'm so sorry. I stand up. Rage takes a hold of me once again. I'm helpless to resist. I take one menacing step towards Moeka.
Okabe!
Kirisu grabs my hand before I can take another.
ダメだってば殺されちゃ
Moeka's gun is aimed at my head. Her finger is already on the trigger.
俺も殺すのかよ。
抵抗するなら、
Technically, this is actually the smartest thing to do at this point, because he knows if he follows the dream, he will get the chance to time leap again.
岡部、お願い。今は従って。このままじゃあんたも殺される。
I grit my teeth and suppress my anger. Just then, something small and round strikes Moeka's gun hand. Time for part-time warrior! At her feet lies a small stone. Right! The next event transpires exactly as I remember. Suzuha appears in the doorway, knocking down the first man before anybody can react. And then she proceeds to go after everybody else. Dark-skinned man, fork and fire, shoots him, blood spurts, roundhouse
そ
kick,
こまでよ。
and standoff. Morgan and Suzuha point their guns. A standoff, neither moves. Silence returns.
何者？
42
She glances at
テ
me.
レビ
This time I already know what she
点灯
means.
済み。
I make a break for the development room.
動くな。それはこっちのセリ
It's him, not Kirisu, that does it this time. Kirisu is right behind me. I grab the headgear and jam it on my head without a moment's hesitation.
フ。岡部、私が。
俺が飛ぶ。設定を頼む。
It's no time to argue. I grab mode stake from the shelf. Kirisu bites her lip and starts setting up the X68000.
岡部倫太郎、一人行って。殺せ、使わせるな。
Before the crew cut man enters the development room, I push the switch. The white smoke instantly fills the room, rendering it impossible to see.
岡部、本当にタイムリープしてもいいの？
やれクリス。マシンを動かせ。
I see blue-white light shining through the smoke. The discharge is starting. The light rapidly grows brighter. The floor begins to shake. The singularity is open. Come on, Okabe! Faster, faster. Come on. You can do this. Transmit. This is reality. It wasn't a dream. Turn that fact into my mind as I prepare to time leap. One more chance. The shaking begins.
もう一度飛んでくれ。
Once more, the world explodes into light. Same time, just a couple hours before. I can't hear. It feels like something is crushing my eardrums. Slowly, the shattered pieces of the world reform. My body convulses as if struck by lightning. I am Okabe Rintaro. I'm in the lab development room, standing in front of the time leap machine with the phone to my ear. My brain hurts again. This isn't like a headache, it's somehow deeper. With the pain comes a torrent of emotions, sorrow, longing, hope, joy that threatens to wash away my psyche. However, only one thing matters.
また飛べた。
I quickly return to the lounge.
びっくりした。
I almost crashed into Kirisu.
脅かすなよ。
誰？
そうだけど。
Alright, time leap successful. I pat Kirisu on the shoulders, almost in an
お
embrace.
前は天才だ。
何よいきなり。気持ち悪いな。
1.21 gigawatts! I scramble for my phone. Oh, for some reason we're having stream troubles. Calling Mayuri.
トゥットゥルー、マユシーです。
マユリ、今どこに？
ただいま電話に出ることができません。
It went to voicemail.
ピーってなったら伝言をどうぞ。
マユリ、今すぐ俺に連絡をくれ。わかったな。今すぐだ。
I hang up. I look at my watch again. It's just past 5. Thank God for the time leap machine. It makes me shiver to imagine what would have happened without it. I have 3 hours until Moika kills Mayuri. Everything is going to be okay. That's plenty of time to escape. First, I'll meet up with Mayuri and leave Akiba. We can go to Ikebukuro. Wait, what if they're watching her house? Maybe we should hop the bullet train and get out of Tokyo entirely. Anyway, as long as Moika doesn't find her today. So first I need to find Mayuri.
岡部？目が血走っちゃってるけど、どうしたの
？Kurisu and Daru look at me with
二
concern.
人とも今すぐここから離れろ。
どういうこと？
I check my wallet. I only have 900 yen and some change. I'll need to stop by an ATM and withdraw everything I have.
何よ、また中二病？
Kurisu shrugs her shoulders, dumbfounded. I don't have time to answer her. I slip beside her and dash out of the lab. Really, you should tell them something.
岡部、どこ行くのよ？おい！
Actually, the person you should go to first is Part-Time Warrior, because she seems to know what the fuck she's doing. I run full speed to Yanabashi Shrine. Naturally, I have to stop for breath before I get more than a few blocks. The sun is setting, but the temperature still hasn't dropped below 30. Sweat quickly covers my entire body. I'm not good at exercise in the first place. I finally stagger through the archway. Now I regret not borrowing Suzuha's bicycle. But no, there wasn't time for that. Finding Mayuri comes first. I run into the courtyard where I find Lukako standing alone with her bamboo broom.
ルカ子。
岡部さん、
She bows her head.
どうしたんです？
マユリはどこだ？
まゆりちゃんだったら、もう帰りましたけど。
帰った。
はい、後でまゆりちゃんにごめんなさいって僕やっぱりどうしてもまゆりちゃんを悲しませたくはなかったんですけど、やっぱり人前に出るのは恥ずかしくて。
Okay, for some reason, OBS is dropping frames like a motherfucker, and I'm not sure why. It's not like I'm running anything else. Not that it matters wholly entirely with this game, because it's not like there's a lot of things we're missing, but it still bugs me that we're dropping frames. Alright. Anyway, I finally catch my breath. I don't have time to listen to Lukako's
マユリ
apologies.
は帰ったんだな。
はい。
That doesn't make sense. I know she comes to the lab around 6:30. It's still 5:30. No matter how slowly you walk, it shouldn't take more than 20 minutes to get back to the lab. So what was she doing for an extra 40 minutes? We don't have
本当
time
に帰
for
ったの
this.
か？どこかへ寄るとは言っていなかったか？
いえ、聞いてませんけど、岡部さん。
もしマユリがここに戻ってきたら、すぐに俺に電話するように伝えるんだ。
はい。
I better check the lab. We might have missed each other. When I get back to the lab, nobody's there but Daru. Did Kirisu go shopping by herself? I call out to him as he's ordering pizza on the computer.
マユリは？
え？いや、
あいつどこへ？
Take a bottle of Dr. P and chug it down. The cold, sparkling liquid wets my parched throat and drives the heat away. Now I can think, but I still can't relax. Every minute, every second is precious. Each moment I waste brings me closer to Mayuri's death.
オカリンさ、さっきからなんでそんなピリピリしてるん？
マユリの居場所を知らないか？
だからルカシのところ。
いなかった。帰った後だった。
I start to pace in irritation.
じゃあ他のレイヤー仲間のところ。
そのレイヤー仲間の連絡先を教えろ。
いや、知らんし。
Damn. It's easy to forget since she's usually here, but Mayuri and I rarely spend time together outside the lab. May Queen in the shrine, that's about it. I have no idea where else she might go. I have an idea! We had a scene about it a little bit ago. May Queen doesn't even exist in this world line.
ああ、そういえば
何かしているのか。
携帯の電源が切れそうとか言ってたような気がする。
Yet another setback. Not only am I unable to contact her, she might not even notice my phone calls.
なあ、一体どうしたん？
誰？なぜここに残っている？今すぐラボを離れろと言ったはず
I
だ。
sit on the sofa. I feel the weight of stress on my shoulders.
理由もなしにそんなこと言われても一体何が始まるんです？
マユリが殺される。
はあ？
セルンが本気を出してきたんだ。あと2時間で奴らは襲撃をかけてくる。
え、マジ？
クリスと連絡を取れるか？
あと2時間って、なんでオカリンはそれを知ってるわけよ。
Taru pauses for a moment, then he looks towards the development room where the time leap machine is sitting.
まさか使ったん？
I nod gravely. I kick Daru out of the lab and send him home. He promised to call Kurisu for me and tell her to stay at her hotel, but a few minutes later, she calls me directly and demands an explanation. It takes some effort, but I manage to convince her to do as I say. Now I just need to wait for Mayuri to get back. I thought about looking for her, but it's too risky. We could miss each other like we did at the shrine. Better to wait here in front of the building. While waiting, I try to convince myself that everything will be okay. Mayuri returns to the lab at 6:30. That leaves about an hour before Moriku's attack. In an hour, we could ride the bullet train from Tokyo Station to Shizuoka. Is that the best plan? Maybe we should get off at Yokohama and lay low in a hotel for a while. I could think about what comes next after Mayuri's safe. The time leap machine doesn't matter. Moriku can have it. My top priority is to prevent Mayuri's death. Sweat accumulates on my forehead and rolls down my face. Hurry back, Mayuri. Part-time warrior?
あれ？
Part-time warrior! Startled, I turn towards the voice. Suzuha and Mr. Braun have emerged from the Braun Tomb workshop. I see them lock the door. Guess they're closing up shop. That's right, I forgot about Suzuha.
岡部倫太郎、そこで何してんの？
いや、
That reminds me. During the attack, she took down 5 armed commandos in the blink of an eye. I still can't believe it. Where does an 18-year-old girl learn to move like that? And then there was her strange behavior immediately before the attack. She left as soon as she heard about the bomb threat, almost as if she knew something was going to happen. And finally, there's that business with her father. Everything about her is a mystery. Who is Amane Suzuha?
あ、わかっちゃった。今日宴会やるらしいから、その準備でしょ？
それを誰から聞いた？
椎名まゆり、さっき顔見せて、つうわけで、私もお邪魔することに。
ダメだ！
もしかして、私邪魔だ？
いや、
まあ、私もラボ面にしてもらっ。
そうじゃなくてだな。
んだよ、うちのバイトも仲間に入れてやれ。おめえはこいつに借りがあるんだろ。
へそって、おーい。
Suzuha has recovered her jacket. She's properly dressed now.
このバイト、なかなかいいへそだったぜ。
エロ親父、本人前にして語らないでよ。
今日の宴会は中止だ。だからバイト選手よ。悪いが今日は帰
That's
って
a bad idea. She's the one person you want there.
中止なの？
ああ、すまない。
No, keep her there and tell her your plan and have her join you.
岡部、何をしてんのかともかく、いざとなったら無茶だけはすんなよ。
It's weird to have him give me advice. I thought he was just a dirty old man who loved CRTs. Maybe he's sharper than I thought. Or maybe he's just telling me to stop shaking the building.
まゆりと喧嘩をしましてね。ちょっと参ってるんです。それだけですよ。
That's the best lie I could manage.
あ、じゃあまずいんじゃない？
Blood?
だってほら、あそこに。
Suzuha points across the street. I turn to look. To my surprise, there's Mayuri walking up the street with a big bag. When she notices us, she waves her hand with a ditzy smile. Mayuri!
あれ？喧嘩したんじゃないの？すごい笑顔だけど。
I ignore Suzuha and run to Mayuri. The clock on my phone says 6:30.
ちょっと！どうしたのよ！
I wasted precious time talking to Suzuha. Now that I've secured Mayuri, we need to get as far away from Akiba as we can.
オカリン、 そんなに急いでどこ行くの？
I ignore her question and grab her
走
hand.
れ駅に行く。
待って、荷
構うな。とにかくいいから走ってくれ。
I won't let them kill her. I won't. Mayuri gives no further resistance. She follows obediently, quickly matching my pace. I forgot that she's faster on her feet than I am.
物が。ねえ、どこ行くの？
そうだな。とりあえず筑波が横浜あたりに。
I'm already gasping for air. Mayuri, however, might as well be strolling along for all the difficulty she's having. How can she be so ditzy yet so athletic at the same time? The sun has already set, but the sky is still a mix of indigo and orange. We run through the streets lit by dazzling shops. Everything will be fine once we make it on the train. I hold this thought in my mind as we run. I'm already exhausted. Mayuri practically has to drag me along to keep going.
少しね、休んだ方がいいんじゃないかな。
いや、電車に乗るまでは走り続けろ。
I do my best to keep up the pace.
でもね、オカリンすごい汗だよ。運動苦手なのにね、無理すると。
When we reach the station, I realize that something is wrong. The station is packed, seriously packed. You don't see this many people, even at rush hour. The crowd is milling around the entrance. For some reason, it looks like no one is going in. What's going on here? A protest? Some kind of street performance? Maybe a terrorist bomb threat? I don't have time for this. Just then, an announcement plays over the PA. Your attention, please. The Yamanote, Kenshin Tohoku, and Sobu lines are currently suspended. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience and kindly ask for your cooperation. Finally, I realized my mistake. That's right, before the attack, the trains were stopped by a bomb threat. No wonder there are so many people standing around. In my haste to flee the city, I completely forgot. How could I have been so stupid?
どうしたんだろうね。
All of the train lines are stopped. We can't escape Akiba. What about the other means of public transportation, the subway or the bus? Should we go to another station? I turn around and head back the way we came, keeping a firm grip on Mayuri's hand. See, no, this is what you should do. Strategic. 1. Ask Mayuri where she was for the last 40 minutes. 2. Call Suzuha. Get her to go back into the tube workshop and turn on the CRT. 3. Immediately use the time leap machine and go back, probably as a smart thing, go back farther than just 3 hours when you have more information and more time to do shit. Because your plan just got ruined right here. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what's going to happen. And the farther you get away from the time leap machine, and if the time leap machine can't work because Suzuha is not freaking there to turn it on for you, you're kind of screwed. Okay, before we get a few more steps, a man steps out of the crowd and blocks our way. I realize that we are surrounded. Okabe Rintaro? A low voice. A face I've never seen. He's not one of the 5 who broke into the lab.
オカリン、この人たち、知り合い？
Mayuri grips my arm tightly as she looks anxiously at the men. Come with us.
誰だ？
Instead of answering, the man makes a grab for my arm. I jerk away and try to escape, but the men move to block us again. If you resist, we'll kill you.
セルンか？
There with Mohika. She must have planned for this in advance. A chill runs up my spine. We made a terrible mistake when we hacked into CERN. I realize that now, though it's far too late.
これだけ大勢の人がいる中で殺す。
This isn't a game. I feel something cold against my back. I don't realize what it is at first. Then it hits me. My gun! I gulp. My blood goes cold. Am I going to die here? Will my time leaping be for naught? No, I can't give up. I won't let Mayuri die. I won't accept that future. But how can I get out of this? The crowd at the station has grown even thicker. People are starting to argue with the station personnel, demanding to know when they can go home. The situation is quickly becoming chaotic. Suddenly, a fight breaks out nearby. It looks like some people are trying to shove their way through. Okay. This could be our chance. A tide of people surges into us, knocking the man behind me off balance. Now! I quickly turn and strike the man's hand aside. The gun falls away. Then the man gets swallowed by the crowd.
Mayuri! 逃げるぞ!
I grab Mayuri's hand and start running. We have to fight our way through the crowd, but that also thwarts our pursuers. As soon as we reach the main street, we start running back towards the lab. Of course, we can't return to the lab itself. Moika's group will be there shortly. Is the subway still running? If we can get on at Suhirocho Station, we can take the Ginza line to Shibuya. From there, we can grab the train heading out of Tokyo. Can't stop now. Have to keep running. Can't go back. Backcountry. Doesn't take long before a new obstacle appears. 4 men walking together up ahead suddenly stop and turn to face us. Got a bad feeling about this. They don't look like otaku. They're with SERN too. My fears are confirmed when the 4 men start walking towards us, arms spread to block the street. No doubt about it, they're after us too. I turn to flee back towards the station, but there I see the first group of men closing in behind us. We're trapped. Enemies on both sides. There's only one chance. I grab Mayuri and make for a nearby side street. I'm trying to get to Suhirocho Station without using the main streets. As we pass UPX, several men on the bridge point at us and shout something. Are they with SERN too? How many men do they have? We turn back and change course. Talking while running uses up all my breath. Sweat drips into my eyes, making it hard to see. Before I finish, I catch sight of another group of men waiting for us up ahead. I look back. The group from before is chasing us. We're surrounded by enemies. The familiar streets of Akiba are filled with agents of SERN. I recall what Moeka said. Despair seizes my heart. Is escape impossible? We're just kids playing at science in the safety of our tiny little lab. Our enemy is a multinational conspiracy willing to kill anyone who gets in their way. Were we doomed from the start? No. No matter what, we must get away. Leading Mayuri by the hand, I push my way through the crowd, then jump the fence onto the road. Something strikes me with crushing force, sending me tumbling across the pavement. I come to a stop several meters away. My body is racked with intense pain. A red curtain covers my eyes. I try to brush it off, and my hand comes away slick with blood. I grit my teeth against the pain and lift my head. Mayuri is lighting on the pavement a few meters away. I'll reach out to her. No response. Mayuri is motionless. No. Did the impact kill her? This can't be happening. The car that ran us over, a white van, pulls up. The door opens, and out steps... Moeka. Her again. She knew the exact moment to be here in order to run over poor Mayuri. She's talking to someone on her phone. Has she been tracking us this whole time? She looks down at me with eyes cold enough to freeze my blood. You know, that's not an excuse. You would have killed her if they didn't run. Mustering my strength, I leap forward and throw myself at Moeka. She goes down hard. I hear her head smack against the pavement. I stand up and look around. Moeka is dazed and unable to stand, but I see SERN agents making their way towards us through the crowd. I've got to get out of here. I take a step. A sharp pain stabs through my body. The crash must have broken a bone in my leg. It doesn't matter. I have to get to the lab and time leap again. That's the only way to save Mayuri. I look back at the site of the accident. Moeka is slowly regaining her feet, but Mayuri remains limp and motionless on the road. It breaks my heart to leave Mayuri lying there, but I have no choice. I have to go. Back to the lab. Oh, he actually made it. Fighting the pain of my broken leg, I managed to drag myself back to the lab. But there were guys surrounding you! Okay, I'm not fighting that. Surprisingly, SERN's men didn't chase me. Nobody's at the lab when I arrive. Only the lights are still on. Relieved that Kurisu and Daru haven't returned, I head straight to the development room. The CRT isn't on! Dumbass! I remembered to break into the Brontube workshop to turn on... Okay, so he did do that. My body is drenched in sweat, and I can't stop shivering. Everything hurts. especially my right side where the car hit me. If I'm not careful, I might lose consciousness. My vision is blurry, it's hard to focus. My left arm is numb and can barely move. But still, I force myself to activate the X68000 and input the settings. I'm gasping for breath like a wounded animal. The sound of my heartbeat fills my ears. Mayuri. Now, if you're smart, you'll go back farther than just 3 hours. I failed to protect her. I'm sorry, Mayuri. I'm sorry. Choking back my tears, I frantically pound on the keyboard. Police sirens echo in the distance. Morika hit Mayuri in front of hundreds of witnesses. They'll probably take her in for questioning. Even if SERN bails her out somehow, she'll be stuck for at least a couple of hours. The real problem is her men. Those mercenaries, or whatever they were, SERN's hit squad. Why didn't they come after me? It should have been easy for them to catch me, injured as I am. I need to hurry. If they show up here, they'll kill me for sure. Settings complete. I put on the headgear. I'll get blood on it, but it doesn't matter. A surge of anxiety washes over me. What if the time leap fails? What if my memories are corrupted? I might forget who I am. I might lose myself. Should I use the machine? Of course I should. I curse my weakness. This can't be allowed to happen. No risk is too great. I will save Mayuri whatever it takes. I alone have the power to change the past. What am I waiting for? Swallowing my fear, I activate the time leap machine. Now go back more than just 3 hours. For the love of God. 3 hours doesn't seem to help you. You need to go back farther. You must go deeper. Is it working? Yeah. Seriously? Ugh. Here we go again. The screeching in my ears, needles stabbing into my brain, 1,000 emotions flooding my senses. Now, he could still get out of this, because instead of phoning Mayuri, whose phone is off, he could phone Lukako, whose phone should not be off, and get Mayuri to stop before she leaves. The world bends, pulses, and then returns to normal. Now, we only have 20 minutes left, so I'm wondering if I should just stop it here. I think we should be able to get through another route. Another loop. If not, we will stop it on the hour, so if it's a cliffhanger, I apologize. The pain of my wounds has vanished like magic, replaced by a piercing pain in my brain. I fight back a wave of nausea and take stock of the situation. I'm sitting on the sofa with my phone to my ear. Another successful time leap. That makes 3. It looks like the time leap machine works perfectly. I'm sure it would boost Kurisu's confidence if I told her, but that will have to wait until Mayuri's out of danger. I stand up and look around the lab. Kurisu, who is dozing off next to me, wakes up with a jerk at the sound of my voice.
大声出さないでよ。徹夜明けなんだから少し休ませろ。
マユリはどこだ？
いきなりなんぞ？マユシならルカシのところ行くって言ってたじゃん。
Yes, she's already left. I should call or send a mail. I need to get in touch with her somehow. Mayuri went to see someone after leaving the shrine. The question is who? Think. Consider every possibility. Damn, why did I forget? Before I time leaped, I should have asked Mayuri where she was today. I'm not thinking straight. I have to calm down. Wait, I know. Last time we failed because we went to Akihabara Station. I should have known that SERN would be watching. This time, we'll take a taxi to another station, then hide somewhere until things calm down. For now, all I can do is wait for Mayuri to return. It's driving me crazy. I consider explaining the situation to Kirisu and Daru, but I don't have the time or the strength to do that right now. My favorite is the train one. Ugh. Besides, I don't want to get them involved. I'll take care of it myself. I won't let any more of my friends die. As before, the Braun Tube workshop closes early. Mayuri appears as Suzuha and Mr. Braun are leaving. Really? There are... You could have... Ugh. We run through Ganda Moijin's back streets to Ocha and Hanamizu Station, taking only minimal precautions to avoid attracting attention. We have to get there before the Sobu line shuts down. We manage to make it to the station without being stopped, but when we get there, I see a group of men waiting by the entrance. They look like SERN. Change of plans. We turn around and head for the Shin Ochanomizu subway station. We arrive at the station later than I intended. I don't usually come here, so I got lost. I stare nervously at the platform clock. According to the scrolling display, the Yamamote, Kyushu, and Tokyo lines have already suspended operations. Wait, it looks like the Chiyoda line has too. It must be protocol to assume that nearby stations may be threatened, even stations on unconnected lines. Damn! Mayuri hasn't said a word about my strange behavior. This is the third time I've let her on this escape, but each time she follows me without complaint. Does she really trust me that much? Maybe she can feel my desperation. That's why I want so badly to save her. How about you ask her where she was, in case? Just in case you happen to go back in time again? We've been together for more than a decade. She's like a little sister to me. I'll leap as many times as it takes. Speaking of leaping, Mayuri tilts her head quizzically. I realize that I'm staring at her.
おかり、マユシーは聞きたいこといっぱいあるけど、今は我慢しとくね。その代わり、終わったらね、全部聞かせてほしいです。
ああ、約束する。
Mayuri smiles happily at that answer. That's right. While we wait for this train, I should ask Mayuri about her whereabouts today. If I have to leap again, I need all the information I can get.
お前、ルカ子に会った後は
吹雪ちゃんからメールがあってね、マユシーのコスにちょっと問題発生しちゃってたのです。それを直しに。
吹雪ちゃんというのはどこに住んでいる？
住んでるっていうかね、今ちょうど UPX のスタベまで来てたのです。
So that's where she was. Just then, an announcement plays over the PA system. The subway is resuming normal operations. About 20 minutes have passed since we arrived. I didn't expect to be stuck here that long, but it's okay. Right now, Moeka should be in Akihabara, heading to the lab. Everything is going to be all right. While waiting for the train, I examined the route map on the station's notice board. We can transfer to an overland train at Yoyogi Uehara. It'll take a while, but that'll take us all the way to Odawara. Another announcement. Our train is arriving. I can hear the rumbling and see the lights at the end of the tunnel. Mayuri and I are standing just behind. I reach for her hand, meaning to make a dash for the train when the doors open, but I guess there's no hurry now. I let my hand fall to my side, empty. Roar comes Frosty.
今日のパーティー
Mayuri is saying something I can't quite hear over the train.
中止になったけど、絶対にいつか。マユリお姉ちゃん。
Suddenly, Mayuri disappears. There she is, leaning out over the tracks. She's off balance as if she stumbled or someone pushed her. She seems to hang there for a moment, and then the train comes screaming into the station. I hear a sound from under the train. I can't describe it, but it makes me instantly nauseous. Sparks fly as the train slams on its brakes. The people on the platform scream. I turn to where Mayuri was just a moment ago. There stands a familiar girl, tiny, adorable, a cute black rabbit pouch slung over her shoulder. Tenoji Nai. She looks up at me. Her eyes are wide. Her lips tremble. You just killed Mayuri.
私、マユリお姉ちゃん、びっくりさせたくて、わざとじゃ、わざと。
She stares at me for a few more seconds as if waiting for me to say something and then turns and runs away. The platform is in chaos. The PA informs us that there's been a personal injury accident. Naya is already gone. I don't go after her. Instead, I peek timidly through the gap between the train and the platform. One side of the track is a wash of red. My mind is blank. I can't think. I don't even remember how I got back to the lab. Morika's group should have come and gone, but the time leap machine is still here. I guess I should be thankful. I changed the line. Here we go again! It takes longer than usual to set up the machine. For some reason, I have trouble recalling my own phone number. At least it's ready. Now, take me back. Back to the past, not the future. I'm going to change the future. Here we go again. So are you going to be smart and go back farther than 3 hours, you dumbass? Okay, you go slightly farther back. You're going back like farther by like half an hour each time, I think. Still not enough time. You need like days here. The leap occurs instantaneously. Taito claimed that his time machine takes 1 hour of subjective time to travel 10 years. I don't know if ours has the same behavior, but now is not the time to find out. 10 years. I have no business I have no business that far back. Besides, according to Kirisu, time leaping too far in the past could cause mental disorders due to the gap between personality and memory. Ah, he jumped back far enough so that she's here. Mayuri is singing her chicken song, though she's actually eating pre-cooked chicken from the convenience store instead of her usual juicy chicken #1. She had to switch because she can't warm up the frozen chicken in the microwave, so now it's a dedicated part of the time leap machine. I was right to come back 5 hours. Mayuri is still in the lab. But what the hell happened back there? It hurts, but I forced myself to recall that horrifying scene. Mayuri died again. This time, it happened at Shin Okanamizu Station, a place completely unrelated to the lab of the bomb threat. Tenoji Nahe pushed her onto the tracks where the train tore her to shreds. Could Nae be working for CERN too? No, that can't be right. Nae has a habit of jumping on Mayuri and greeting. This was probably just her usual affectionate self, which just so happened to kill her around the exact same time in every time loop that she happens to be killed. But why did she choose that precise moment? I don't know. I sense malice. Whose malice? It's like fate is playing a cruel joke on us. Whatever the case, all that matters now is that I have another chance. I need to act. I have the power to save Mayuri. I will do whatever it takes to find a way. This time, we hail a taxi on Chudodori. It'll be expensive, but that hardly matters now. Mayuri comes along quietly. I consider taking her home to Ikebukuro, but Morika's group might be watching her house. I have no idea where they are at this point in time. Instead, I asked the driver to take us to Shinagawa. However, the traffic is unusually heavy. The driver says it's never been this bad before. There must be an obstruction up ahead, an accident or something. It's the only explanation I can think of. We've made it out of Akiba, but at this rate it'll take forever to reach Shinagawa. I considered getting off here and taking the train, but then I remembered what happened at Ochanomizu Station. I have a bad feeling about this. The traffic jam could be CERN's doing. I look out the window and scan the crowd for anyone who might be a CERN agent. 3 hours later, we're still stuck. According to a conversation I overheard between our driver and another driver, there's some kind of inspection up ahead. Furthermore, it doesn't seem to be a police inspection, and a small fight broke out at the inspection site or something. To make matters worse, this road has already been closed off, and all the cars behind us are being detoured. There are only about 100 cars waiting, but the inspection has been at a standstill for 3 hours. This can't be coincidence. Once again, I feel the malice of fate manipulating the situation. Is Mayuri going to die again? Well, yeah, you sat in a car for 3 hours. If I had known it was going to turn out this, I would have ditched the taxi hours ago. It's not too late. I should pay the driver and get off right. Just then, someone knocks on the window. Our taxi is stopped in the middle of the road. What's going on? I look over, but before I can say anything, a man opens the rear door and gets in next to Mayuri. He's holding a knife. Another assassin!
Mayuri!
Before she can reply, the man, something or other. I accidentally hit the button. I apologize. I try to open the door, but it's locked. Only the driver can open it from the inside. Mayuri opens her eyes wide. Her body twitches. It all happens too fast. The man sinks his knife into Mayuri's chest. A bright red spot stains her clothes. Hey, she's dead again. Man who stabbed Mayuri. Be quiet, Okabe Rentaro. Another man gets into the passenger seat. He points a gun at the driver and says something to him. Strength drains from Mayuri's body. Her eyes slowly close. A tear rolls down her cheek. I watched her die inches away, powerless to stop it. I can feel her last breath against my skin. They killed her again. Why? Why? Why can't I save her? Why won't you let me save her? Who decided that Mayuri must die? Moeka? CERN? Or does the world itself wish for Mayuri's death? I won't accept that. I clench my jaw and throw myself forward, driving my forehead into the killer's nose. He falls back. I shout to the driver. I crawl out of the taxi and take off running through the traffic jam. After running for hours, I make it back to the lab. Luckily, the time leap machine is still there. I have to leap again. Same time as last time. Every time we run, Mayuri dies. 6 hours into the past, I clench my head and rack my brain for an answer. I feel like I've hit a dead end. What do I do if we can't run away? Is there no way to
無
save
理
her?
なものか。絶対に助けてやる。
何のこと？
Mayuri's blank stare is the only answer I get. You have friends. This time I take her to the closest police station and beg them to protect her. When asked why, I explain that somebody is going to kill Mayuri 6 hours from now, but without any proof that there's someone after her, they have no choice but to turn us away. It's past 6 by the time we leave the station, and we're left with no choice but to keep running. I wish that I could blame my previous failures on bad luck. We could try Ochinamizu or Shinabashi again, and maybe this time she won't die, but I don't have the courage to try those routes again. At the same time, we can't stay in Akiba. We're running out of options. Subways, trains, and taxis, all out. Attempting to escape by those means will get Mayuri killed, so my heart tells me. Perhaps the fear is irrational, but I can't put it out of my mind. I've seen her die half a dozen times already. Shot, stabbed, torn to pieces. I can't go through that again. We take refuge in Yodobashi Camera. I thought we could keep hiding there indefinitely, but just after 7 we hear an explosion in front of the station. Yodobashi goes into chaos. Policemen appear and start evacuating the store. When I try to explain our situation, an officer shouts, "Terrorist!" and pulls his gun. This can't be happening. This isn't America. Japanese police officers don't shoot without provocation. Mayuri dies. It happens so fast. The policeman shoots her right in the head. I don't know if he was a real policeman or a SERN assassin in disguise. It doesn't matter. I can't deny it any longer. The world itself is killing Mayuri. Here we go again! Ah, 4:32 this time, so we added an extra hour and a half. This time, I don't leap into action immediately. Instead, I sit on the couch and collect my thoughts. Every time I try to save Mayuri, it ends in the worst possible way. To make matters worse, I no longer even know what I'm supposed to be saving her from. Cause and effect. Just in case this particular loop is pretty long, we only have 5 minutes left. I think this is a good point to save it rather than save it at a cliffhanger. Save.